Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is a uh, a um look at the 2018 midterm elections, and particularly the Senate elections, and this is a scenario that other people have done, but essentially this is what I think would have happened if Hillary Clinton had been president. Now Hillary Clinton uh, is unpopular, and this was already a really bad Senate map, and having an incumbent unpopular president of that party in a really bad Senate map is a recipe for Senate supermajority for the other party. So the Republicans already had a very good map to begin with, and yeah, so this was the map. This is what actually happened. I will admit, I got a few seats wrong. I got Missouri wrong. I got Arizona wrong, and I got Tennessee wrong. So those are the seats I got wrong. I predicted a 46 to 51 Senate majority for the Republicans, or 49 to 51 Senate majority. Wait, no, 48-52, because Arizona I had going to the Republicans. But um, this is what the map looked like. So yeah, and now I'm going to do what I think would have happened had Hillary Clinton been president. And spoiler, it would not have been good for the Democratic Party. So I don't usually like to use 270 to win, but there's not a Yapums feature for it, so we just got to use it. And yeah, so here it is. So it's hard to predict because this map is a really weird map. There are so many, like, Montana was a toss-up, and when I say toss-up, I mean contested. Montana was contested. Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota Special, Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, Florida, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, maybe, West Virginia, not really Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I think I already said Florida, so very, very competitive. So also there were some rumors that Angus King was going to lose his seat in Maine, but that didn't happen. So safe Democrat seats, that would California and Washington, it would still be safe for sure. I think that New York would be safe. New Jersey wouldn't because of Bob Menendez. Maryland, Delaware would be safe though. Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, obviously. And I'm characterizing Vermont and Maine as blue because they're independence caucus of the Democrats, and I think Virginia would have no. And then for the Republicans, you would have had seats like Wyoming, like all these seats be safe. The North Mississippi election would have been safe. So you're gonna have all those seats being safe, getting 47. See, I forgot to mention that Hawaii would be safe for the Democratic Party. So now we're kind of talking about likely seats for the Democrats, and I think that Amy Klobuchar's seat still would have been likely. Yeah, actually, I'll put it as safe because of how popular she was. But I think Pennsylvania still would have been likely. I think Virginia would have been likely, and I think New Mexico would have been likely. These are all states that Pennsylvania went to Trump 2016, but Bob Casey is so popular there. Democrats did very well there in 2018. I think it would have been closer. It would have been like a 7-point win instead of like a 20-point win, but still would have won. I think Virginia would have been likely. Tim Kaine, he won easily. He won by like 17 points. Um, I think I think that it would have been close. Remember, Tim Kaine was Hillary Clinton's running mate, so he'd be the vice president, so it would also be kind of a weird election there. And then New Mexico, that probably would have been likely. Gary Johnson, that was if the Republicans wanted to win that seat, they should have settled for Gary Johnson, had their candidate drop out, and have a Libertarian versus Democrat matchup. They didn't do that, though, but yeah. Now, likely Republican states, I do think that North Dakota would be likely. I also think Missouri would be likely, and I think it ended up it was just barely likely. I also think that Missouri or that Indiana would be likely. I think Indiana actually was likely, and Tennessee would be safe because I know the Democrats ran Phil Bredesen, but he didn't do too well there in under Trump, so he wouldn't do too great under Hillary Clinton. I'm actually going to put North Dakota as safe in the best case scenario for the GOP. They've already taken the majority, so yeah, and I think that they also would have won Texas by a likely margin. I think Ted Cruz is going to always underperform Trump in Texas. And Beto Workers is going to overperform Biden, so still be likely. Now for the lean Democrat states, I think they would have still held on to Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin's very popular. It would have been a lot closer. She went by 11. It probably would have been like 5 points. So in Michigan, Debbie Stabenow, she won by 8. It would be something like 3. But again, Michigan is like the Indiana of 2016. The Republicans don't really have a future here. So yeah. And I think Nevada still would have been lean. I know people are going to say, "Oh, Dean Heller, he could have won re-election." No, he was in the same situation that Cory Gardner is in. Basically, he's a blue state Democrat. He's a red state Democrat. Oh my gosh, blue state Republican who is in a state that is going to vote for the Democrats, and I think that would have been lean. And even in the best case scenario for the Republicans, I don't think that Cory Gardner wins re-election. So yeah, lean. I'm gonna leave it just as that. And for the lean Republican states, I think that they would have won Florida by a lean margin. I know it sounds weird because Florida is basically immune to waves, but Bill Nelson was not popular. He also wasn't that popular either, though. He had a few lucky elections. And then also, we have to remember that Rick Scott was the popular governor of Florida, and he probably, to be honest, could have won that race by more than he did. He won it by, I know it was very slim, but I think he could have edged it out by like maybe 2 in a best case scenario for the Republicans. Okay, the Democrats are 41, so at least they've got 40 seats. For the tilt states, I'm going to put a few states as tilt. I do think that West Virginia and Ohio would be tilt, and I know you're going to say that these are Trump states in 2016, and they are. West Virginia, Joe Manchin is so loved by his constituents that it was virtually impossible for him to lose re-election. It was going to be close. That was inevitable because this is a polarized country and it's in a red state. But remember how much people like Joe Manchin in West Virginia. In Ohio, Sherrod Brown, he was able to unseat a I think it was 2012 that he beat out Mike DeWine, who was a decently popular incumbent. So Sherrod Brown is just too popular to lose. Same with Montana. John Tester, actually, I'm not going to touch that just yet. So now for the tilt GOP states, I think Arizona would be tilt. I characterized it as tilt. Martha McSally, I thought was going to win. Kirsten Sinema, actually, she is now the senator there. So, but in the best case scenario, it would have gone to the to the Republican Party. And in New Jersey, Bob Hugin was a very bad candidate for the Republicans to run. They could have run anyone except for Chris Christie, and they probably would have won that seat. Kind of the slogan was in New Jersey, "Suck it up and vote for Menendez." And Bob Menendez is a crook, but he really doesn't isn't as polarizing as Bob Hugin was. So there's always that to talk about. I forgot to characterize Minnesota special. That would have been lean in a best case scenario. Even though Trump he lost by 1.5, but Tina Smith is much stronger than Hillary Clinton there, and that was basically Trump's best case scenario, 2016 for the time being. Tilt Republican. Now, I don't think that John Tester. I thought Tester was going to win re-election by a lean or likely margin. He ended up winning by a lean margin, so it was pretty close. But Matt Rosendale, he's kind of a nobody. He was the state auditor, yeah, but the one saving grace for the Republican, or the one thing that gave them hope in Montana was that John Tester voted against Brett Kavanaugh, and he has been a fierce crusader against Donald Trump. And, Donald Trump and Mike Pence, they said, we have to pick up the Senate seat. And they weren't able to. So that makes me I really want to put this in the tilt column for the Democrats. But in a best case scenario, where Hillary Clinton is president, they couldn't have done all that. And Hillary Clinton certainly would not have appointed Brett Kavanaugh, but there would have had to have been an anti-Hillary wave in her first midterm, probably even more in the second. So, yeah. Now, I think in a best case scenario for the Republicans, they would have won Indiana by a safe margin. Missouri probably not. Texas, they would have won by a safe margin. They probably would have won Arizona by a likely margin. They probably actually would have won in Nevada. They would have won in Ohio and West Virginia. They would have probably won in not really one of those places, but that would probably be their best case scenario. And they'd make Minnesota likely. But yeah. So what I think would have happened though is they would have won in these places. And I understand that people think that Bob Hugin was a good candidate for the Republicans, and I know I'm going back to that, but I don't think that he was. He was very conservative, especially for a place like New Jersey. So That's what I think would have happened had Hillary Clinton been the president at the time. So I know I sound a little sick. That's because it's the morning and I always sound like that. But guys, thanks for watching. I think I'll do this 2022 midterms if Trump gets reelected. Yeah, I'll do that. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're currently at 478 subscribers. Can we get to 500 by the end of August? I think we can. Also, be sure to drop a follow on Instagram. I have a Discord if you'd like to join that. And yeah, bye.